All right, so the Moms That Read actually came down for the Lauren Roberts event in Atlanta, Georgia. And the shop that is hosting it is actually the Little Shop of Stories. It's a bookstore, and so we're going to go in and actually check out some books before we head to the event. Let's go.
So if you see anything, no you didn't. Just had to clear that up really quick. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrifying. So obviously as the years have gone by, you know, there's been Powerful and Reckless, and then all of a sudden, early 2024, I was like, all right, here we go. This is like the big mama. I was so scared of Fearless. And it was terrifying, especially because I have the honor of having so many people behind me and looking forward to these books, which is like the most insane and amazing thing ever, but also a little scary at times because I knew what the girlies wanted and I knew what everyone was expecting. And it was scary. I was like, oh my God, if I upset them, like, I'm a little scared. So the whole thing has just been very nerve-wracking, but in the best way possible. And I think Fearless has been the most rewarding and fulfilling book I've written thus far. Like, I just worked so long and hard on it that when it got done and it looked like how I wanted it to, I was so, like, proud, you know? Not that I haven't been proud of the other ones, but this one specifically, I was like, oh my God, we did it. We made it. Oh goodness, here we go. It felt bigger than me, and you know, I have people to please, as I said. This book felt so large, and I was like, the girlies, I need to give them what they want, or do I? Very much was like, I think for the first time since starting this journey, I realized that it's okay not to be perfect in a sense, and I feel like not that these books are perfect by any means, but I put a lot of pressure on myself to be like, this has to be the best book I can do, and also the, you know, the best book these people have ever read. And obviously, that's not always the case. And so for the first time, I was like, you know what? I want them to love it, and I want this book to be what they want it to be. But if there's people who don't like it as much, it's okay. And I feel like I had to come to terms with that. Just me as a people pleaser, I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I'm gonna write the best book that I can and really hope that they love it. But again, it was a little nerve-wracking in the most flattering way. I was like, I cannot believe how many people are so excited for this book. And it was really scary saying goodbye to the characters that I like grew up with. They felt so comfortable and like just reliable. I could write them with my eyes closed. Like, I literally write in my outlines. If I had to write a scene between Peyton and Kai, I'd put cutie little scene between Peyton and Kai. Like, that was literally my outline because I knew once I got there, it would just flow. Like, I never had any issues with them. Like, they just felt so comfortable and we understood each other. Like, we were on good terms. So it's scary kind of stepping out of that and going into something new in the future without them, because I feel very safe with them. We understand each other. So this book gave me more than trauma, okay? It gave me confidence as an author. Like I said, I feel like I came out of Fearless knowing myself a little bit more and knowing my writing process and me as an author. I feel like I've been learning that for the past couple years, but this book especially really, really stretched me. And I feel like I grew so much. And my biggest goal is to always just make each book better than the last. And I hope that that's seen. I hope that the writing is seen and, you know, the characters and things like that. Like, that's just what I want to do, and I just want to keep getting better. I'm completely, like, this is me. Like, I'm so, like, I'm just locked in. And it's not until after the fact when people are, like, begging me to pay for their therapy bills that I'm like, oh, maybe that was a little evil of me. I don't even like register as I'm writing because I'm just so in the zone of like trying to get it on the page. So that even, I guess Powerful wasn't even what made me cry. It was the process of writing it. I wrote the first 6 chapters and I was struggling. Like something was not clicking, and it was Mac. He was my problem boy, which is shocking because I love him now. But at the time, he just wasn't working on the page. Like him and Adina weren't vibing, and I was not vibing either. I was like, what's going on? So I wrote the first 6 chapters, and I ended up scrapping them because I was like, this is the worst thing ever. And I was freaking out because I'd actually written Reckless before I wrote Powerful, and they told me Powerful was going to come out before Reckless, and I was so scared because that was going to be the first book people had read other than Powerless, and I was like, it's not Peyton and Kai, what if people hate it, you know, like this is a different feeling. So I felt very nervous about it, but finally I had a little cry. I scrapped the first 6 chapters and was like, what am I doing? And then it was like, like everything became so clear, and I was like, through my teary-eyed gaze, I was like, I know what I need to do. And so it genuinely helps. I feel like that's one of my best pieces of advice is like, hey, let it out sometimes, because it does help. That's a big part of my process. Kind of towards the end of Fearless, she really leans into those psychic, like observant tendencies that she has. And that was something I spent so much time on because I wanted you to feel like you were in her brain, and all the things, all the conclusions she was drawing, you know, made sense. So that was honestly difficult for me, was the being smart part. Next, again, kind of going back to what I said, I realized, you know, it doesn't need to be perfect. And not that, again, none of these books are perfect by any means, but I was like, you know what? My goal is to just make each book better than the last, and I want to be a better author in each book, better writing, better character development, things like that. So I feel like I finally came to terms with like my people pleaser tendencies and was like, all right, let's just write the book and pray that they like it. Now for growth. Number 1, it has been such a privilege to grow up with this series and these characters and those who enjoy them, which is hopefully you. It has been absolutely insane. I feel like I've genuinely grown up with these characters, which is crazy. But when I wrote Peyton and Kai, I was 18, and I feel like Peyton was exactly what I needed at the time. Like, strangely enough, she was almost like a role model. She was so strong in herself and what she needed to do and who she was going to be. And I feel like I needed that because, you know, our teenage, even late teen years are so important. And I feel like we're like a sponge. We're soaking up everything. And so to have Peyton almost as a role model she was such an outlet for me to like be this really brave, strong person. And I feel like I've grown up with them. And if you've read Fearless, you kind of know I feel like this book is a little bit darker and it gets a little older in a sense. So I think you can see through each book how things have progressed. Oh no, there we go. Number 2, I love that Powerless is a time capsule of who I was at 18, what I like to read, how I wrote, and the story I started. So I get asked a lot if I would go back and change anything, and I'm like, yes. There are so many things that I would love to go back and fix or just tweak, but at the same time, I wouldn't. because it really is like a time capsule of who I was at 18. And Powerless was the book I wanted to read, the tropes I wanted to read, the types of characters I wanted to read. Like, it was how I wrote. So it's really beautiful in a way to get to see that, like, you know, encapsulate my 18-year-old self in that book.
Yes, we care. Yes, we care.
Chapter 39, chapter 45 through 48. I don't actually know what is happening in any of these chapters. I just flipped through the book and was like, yeah, this one, and I don't remember now. Chapter 54 and chapter... See, you guys know what that's about. Genuinely do not remember. And then chapter 59. I love that you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yes!
Some of these are not even anything that, like, insane, but I love writing those mundane moments in fantasy books, so, yeah, those were some of my favorite chapters. And I have to tell everybody, on every place I've been so far, I have to say this. I posted a video months ago about, like, it was me in my study, and I was, like, reading chapter 50 of Fearless. When I was making these notes, I was like, what was chapter 50? Like, let me go back and look. And it's like nothing exciting. And I think what happened was, at the time, chapter 50 was something really cool, and then I moved things around and it got all mixed up. So, disregard that video. This is like what I need to tell everybody. I think I was talking about chapter 59 or chapter 54. Apparently that's a good one, I don't remember.
Trust, it's good.
It's good. Thank you. Yeah, so I think I was talking about probably what is now chapter 54, but at the time it was chapter 50. But now I'm looking at that video and I'm like, oh, people are gonna read chapter 50 and be like, really? This is what you were so excited about? So anyways, I had to give that like public service announcement. So now, what is happening now, right? My message to you is, I hope you're not sick of me yet.
No.
Because
Never!
there is a lot more tension, action, and trauma to come, I fear.
What do you mean?
Glad you guys are excited. I have a lot more to say. I have so many more stories to tell. I keep saying this is the end of the trilogy, right? This is what 18-year-old me set out to do, was write these 3 books. But it's not the end of the series, all right? So we're gonna get some more. There's more to tell, which is why if you've read Fearless and you come out of it being like, what? I meant to do that. There's more, don't worry. We're gonna dive in a little bit deeper on some things. So there's more to come. I can't say too much at the moment.
We're gonna come out real strong out of the gate with this one. Lock your ears if anyone is under 18, maybe? I don't know. Not that bad. So, Kai and Pooty's romance is very closed door, as we're aware. Totally okay. I could kind of like turn the handle a little bit, maybe like put one foot in the door and say what maybe Kai's favorite position?
Oh my goodness, I can confidently say that no one has ever asked me that.
Welcome to Atlanta.
Not that I haven't like thought about it. You know, this is kind of a lame answer, but I really do feel like it's up to your interpretation. But I feel like they'd be a little fun. I mean, you know, but yeah, I do. In the future, maybe my friends always, they're like, Lauren, you should write a smut scene of the 2 of them.
You've got good taste in friends.
series YA, absolutely. But I do get that there's like a not older, but older audience who wants, a little more of an open door.
We got Dirty Mind for it. What do you got?
Right. So, I feel like I'm not going to promise anything, but I will say my friends every year for their birthday, they're like, that's what we want. And I haven't gotten around to it yet, but who knows, maybe in the future. But I will say, like, whatever you think. I feel like they're very open to a number of things. But that's a great question.
I feel like we have a lot of book boyfriends that we always put on our list, right? But I don't feel like we've ever read a book boyfriend like Kai. So where do you get the inspiration to make a character like him?
Yes, I looked around and I was like, this is it? Like, these are the guys? I'm just kidding. But it really was like, I just wrote the man that I wanted to read about, and he is very much like a compilation of some of the book boyfriends that I had read, and like, I took bits and pieces of like, the cockiness and like the swagger, things like that. Like, I really wanted to just create the type of guy that I wanted to read about. Because there was no one in real life. I was 18, had no romantic anything. Like, literally nobody. So I'm just in my bedroom like, Kai. So yeah, he really was just my delusions. Yeah, he didn't really come from anywhere, but yeah, that's a great question.
My name is Victoria. First of all, I love the book. I finished it this morning.
Thank you.
And I think we can all agree that we love the way Peyton looks, her character herself. And I know this is an odd question, but where did you inspire to get the idea of giving her gray hair? Like, because that was so cool.
Yes, thank you. Also love your Peyton outfit, so cute. Yeah, I wish it was more interesting than what I'm about to say, but I was like obsessed growing up. I wanted a silver strip in my hair. You know what I mean? I don't know what it was, but I had very like I just have dark hair, and now over the years, like, it's been dyed. I'm like, there's no way I can dye it and get it light enough to have a silver strip. So I feel like that just manifested in Peyton, where I was like jealous of her in a way. I was finally getting silver hair. So it's not anything super interesting, but I just really wanted her to have the hair that I wanted, so I could live vicariously through her. So yeah, I wish I had like a cooler answer than that, but that's about it.
My question is, how's the TV show going? Are you? You need to make Kai. You need to get a good one.
Okay, so I've been sworn to secrecy about a lot of stuff, so I can't say anything yet, but there's things happening behind the scenes. I have spoken to the head writer. She seems amazing, like really seems to care about these books. I'm gonna try and be as involved as I possibly can be, because again, I'm here for the girlies, right? Like, I know what we want, I know the vibes, and I want to try and deliver as best I can.
Please don't be like those people who don't make it like the book. I need it like the book as much as
Right, and I'm gonna do my absolute best, I promise. Like, I want to take care of this book and make it something that you guys are proud of.
Who is your like favorite character? That like, it could be like a small character, or like a main character. Just
Yeah, I would say, I love writing boys. It's so because I just get to make them say and do what I want, which like you can't do in real life, you know? So I do always I love writing Kai, I really do. He's like my outlet for poetry and just like, being the man that we want, So I do really enjoy writing him, but I love Jax. He's such a little cynical. I'm like obsessed with him. Every time I get to write him, I'm just so I really love him, and I also really like Andy. I think she's so cool. Like, I would love to be her friend. So those would probably be my top. And obviously Peyton, like, of course, like that's my girl, obsessed with her. But yeah, I could say everybody, I fear. I really do enjoy writing everyone. Even the people that people don't like, Like, I know there's Kit haters in the building. I'm positive of it. Young, loud and proud Kit haters. But yeah, even like Kit and Blair, like I still enjoy writing them because they're just fun. So yeah, good question. I kind of just said everybody.
I found one in my head last night. I'm curious to see if it's the same one that you say.
That's a really good question. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, I guess from. Oh my god, this is so hard.
I really want to know if it's the same one I had in my head. I'm so curious.
I feel so. Ever since the beginning, I've always said that "Set Fire to the Rain" by Adele is like Peyton Kai's theme song. So I feel like that's fitting. But also, do you mean specifically for Fearless?
Yeah.
Okay. When I think of Kit and Peyton, it's "My Tears Ricochet" by Taylor Swift. Is what I think, but that's kind of sad. What did you have in mind?
So, very end, right before the epilogue, no spoilers. In my head, I heard the strings from Invisible String, because I'm also a folklore girly. So, right before I got to the epilogue, very last page, that's what was playing in my head, like if the movie faded to black.
That's better than my answer. We're gonna go with that. Great question.
And whenever I was reading Reckless, I was wondering about the poppy scene. Whenever like they made poppy crowns, is there any like sentimental like value to that? Like, why poppies? Like,
Yeah, good question. I knew from the beginning I wanted a flower to represent each of the books, and I knew I was going to work them in. So for Powerless, it was Forget-Me-Nots, and that honestly is the only one that I have sentimental value with. It's a very weird story, but my sister growing up in her closet, she used to have this like felt little forget-me-not, and it had a tag on it that said forget-me-not, and it explained that like loved ones would give this to one another, like especially like before wars and things like that. And I remember like it made me so emotional, and I was like, that's a beautiful gesture, like giving these flowers to someone. And so that was what kind of made me choose Forget-Me-Nots, because obviously it plays in really well with Peyton and Kai's banter, and like, you're always forgetting who I am, you know? So, like, that one has more sentimental value to me than the other ones, but for poppies, I think I chose them for the color, and also they mean, I'm gonna butcher this, but I'm pretty sure they mean something to do with like, new love or something? Yeah. I could be wrong about that. It means something, and I remember knowing the meaning, like, I'm gonna choose these.
the reason why I asked that is because like I was worried because like poppies actually sometimes the poppies like make like a fume, and like I was worried like were they like high for like whenever they're having house.
Oh my god. I don't know about that. I don't pretend it that way. I like the sleuthing skills. Like, I like the thought process.
Okay, sorry it is dark. We got out late, but we got a whole entire signed set of Lauren Roberts books, and then we picked up an extra Fearless for one of you guys. Comment down below Fearless and make sure you're following us on YouTube, and we're gonna pick somebody, what do we say, next Wednesday? Sure. Wednesday, to send the copy of Fearless to. And we also got extra bookish stickers and a couple of things that they were giving away there. So we'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Bye.